Aguascalientes, Jalisco.
Guadalajara, 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 Guadalajara. Ay, 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 ay.
Here it's okay. Is this recording already?
Yes, it is.
All right. I guess we're live. Good afternoon. We're live here at Expo Guadalajara on the very opening day of Guadalajara International Book Fair. And together with us is our very first featured author of the book, Moorish American Nationality Keys, Mr. Lonnie Bray L. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, James. How are you?
We're doing fantastic. Thanks for being here. So let us know what brought Lonnie here in Guadalajara.
What brought Lonnie here in Guadalajara is ReadersMagnet calling me and telling me that I was a top-rated author and had a top-rated book. I didn't know that.
Okay. So share with us your background. We can see that you are wearing a turban. I believe that's what we call a turban. What is the inspiration behind that?
What is the what?
Inspiration behind it.
Oh, my people, my culture. A turban is a global symbol from the Moors, and I wear it to represent.
For us who have no education about your culture or the Moors, tell us more about it.
Moors, Moors are the indigenous people of America, the indigenous people of the world. We go by the nationality Moorish American as an established nationality as of 1913 to establish ourselves by blood as Americans. American by blood, not by vote.
Okay. With regard to your demographics or your population in across the world, how many are Moors?
Good question. From Moorish Americans' perspective, most. With the logic that all people originate from Africa, and most of us have African blood in us. It's in our hair, it's in our eyes, it's in our blood. So that's what we mean by Moorish America. We're talking about establishing one human. I found that in my research for Moorish American nationality that Europeans have more of a problem with explaining their nationalities than we do. And I'm going to say a term now, African American, blacks, Mexicans even. Mexicans largely are indigenous people. They go by terms, or they're locked into terms like mestizo, which is in the States mulatto. And those terms are stateless terms, they're not national terms. So what my book does is strive to give everybody a nationality. North American nationality is nationality for people who have blood origins in America.
Perfect. Before we proceed, maybe I can ask Lonnie to move a little bit closer.
A little
to
bit
the
closer.
phone. Yes, we can
All right.
hear you clearly to
You're
the live
gonna
stream.
fry me with this light.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry about that. You look good. Quite visible. We can see your face because of the light, so I hope you don't mind. Again, Readers Magnet is live right now on Facebook, Twitter, and on our YouTube channel. If friends of Lonnie and those who are avid fans of Lonnie can actually visit these channels, share it into your Facebook, into your YouTube and your Twitter, and even Instagram. Um, we are all available in our social media sites. So, with regard to the Moors, I've quite read about that, and definitely came from Africa. It's an of African origin, correct?
Well, are you familiar with Pangea?
Yes.
All right. So the continents were,
supercontinent.
yes, the continents were connected. We were all one people. So when we're talking about Moors, we're not talking about a separation. We're actually talking about a togetherness.
Exactly. Okay. Can we have your book, Lonnie? I believe your book is on display right now. Right there. I think everyone is excited to actually see the cover of your book. Tell us the inspiration of your book cover.
I wanted something to look lavish, to look comfortable, to look welcoming. This is satin. And the emblem here is an MAI for Moorish American Institute. And that's where I got the bulk of my education about the Moors.
Did you study there?
Yes. 3.5 years.
For 3.5 years.
Yes.
What is it exactly that you want to share to the world about the Moorish culture?
That it's alive, that it's extravagant, that it's forgotten, it's forbidden, but it's not secret. Many people know about it. They just refuse to talk about it because they're in secret clubs and groups. They've all agreed to do that.
You said about forbidden.
Yes, forbidden. From the Moorish American Institute teachings and other Moorish teachings, we've learned that, and from my personal experiences with professors, friends, colleagues, you don't have to say it directly. They belong to a group called Freemasons, right, and others. And they have agreed to not discuss the Moors, yet they use our emblems. They have the compass and square, which are our astrological tools. And astrology comes from the Moors. Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting.
Astrology and astronomy were once the same thing. When it was with the Moors, astrology and astronomy were the same. It was only separated by Christianity. The humanness of astrology was taken away, and astrology was left. The astronomy was left with the Christians.
You mentioned about you studying at the Moorish Institute of America?
Moorish
American Institute for 3.5 years. Before entering the institute, is there anybody who inspired you or told you to get in, or was it more of like a personal decision?
My grandfather is a 33 and 3rd degree Mason, and he taught me starting when I was 8 years old. So by the time I was 12, I had absorbed 32 degrees of Freemasonry. My grandfather was my inspiration for finding the Moorish American Institute. Marvin Young Gray L.
Okay, maybe you can show us again the book. And we have a question here from one of our viewers, Miss Catherine Lindsay.
Hablas español en inglés.
Her question is, how long did it take you to write this book?
Good question. Thank you for that question. Well, I was writing 3 other books when I chipped off from them to create this book. So, starting with the conception of this book, it probably took me about 4 months. It wasn't long. I had most of the information already. I had all the research done and everything. So, to get that research and everything, that took me about 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I've written 4 other books on this subject. and they're a lot bigger than this. This one's a 75-page book. The other ones are all about 200 pages. They're full of pictures and examples, even some poems. This one has a poem in it.
It has a poem. Maybe you can read us one poem.
Right now?
Yeah, sure. I'll hold the microphone for you.
All right, thank you.
Again, we are live. Readers Magnet is live on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel. If you have questions for Lonnie, the author of the book, Moorish American Nationality, just shoot us a question so we can ask you live. Before you proceed, though, we have a question from Lena Elliott from the United States. What do you, Lena? Yes.
Lena. Hi, Lena.
What do you think makes up a perfect society, or something close to it?
Ooh. People who care about themselves enough to care about others. We have to really treat ourselves good so that we can treat others good. And I've thought about this question. I thought I was going to get this question. There's no clear answer for that because human interactions are so twisted. From country to country, inner countries. I recently learned about Kenyans trafficking, Nigerians trafficking Kenyans in Cleveland. So I don't know how to bridge the gap and tell them, hey, let's all be Moors and go by this term when that kind of thing's going on. I just shot a movie called Socks about surviving human trafficking. That's a loaded question, and one that doesn't have a definite answer. It would take, 10,000 minds to figure that out.
All right, so I guess Lonnie can read us a poem in your book.
All right, I can hold it.
So you can.
All right, so I'm going to read a poem for the first time live. This is called Think Mink. Our words at will may splurge like mink, carefully wording to recall tales in ink, a listening elixir, a drunk's ear drink. They call us clever and never say we stink. I love more people and all that we think. Some dark temples are lit with the pink. At more social washings in golden sinks. Rub me, scrub me, wash what you think. In jeweled tubs, soaping friends with mink.
Tell us the inspiration behind the poem.
The inspiration behind the poem is human togetherness. Bathhouses in Al-Andalus. The bathhouses in Al-Andalus are historically famous, not just for bathing, but for social gatherings. They read poetry there, they smoke things, they drink things, and they share quite a bit.
Earlier, when you came here in our booth, again, Readers Magnet is at booth GG38, you were very emotional when you saw your book.
I saw my book for the first time, yes. I almost cried.
You were very emotional about it. So it was really your first time to see your book.
Yeah, it's my first time touching it.
How many pages are your book? Is your book?
75 pages.
75 pages. Mostly are poems or
No.
stories?
That's the only poem. I just turned to this page. First to be classed citizens. Not first classed citizens, but the first citizens to be classed in any nation are the indigenous people. The second people to be classed are people who come to that nation with their own nationalities from another nation. Those can become citizens. People without nationalities can never become citizens. Not of the United States, not of anywhere. It's an international crime to be stateless.
Exactly. If there's one thing that you want to share the world about the Moorish culture, what is it?
That it's about love. More means love. In most languages. In Spanish is amor. In French is amor. In Italiano es amar. For example, we love. More is love.
Thank you so much. We'll have more of Lonnie Bray L, the author of the book Moorish American Nationality, um, the next coming days. I believe is going to be. How long are you going to be staying here in
3 days.
Guadalajara?
3 days.
You're going to be here on Sunday and Monday.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. But where are you from exactly?
I'm from Cleveland.
hmm You're from Cleveland. Why don't you tell everybody who's watching us live right now where we can find your book?
You can buy my book on Amazon.com.
Do you have a website?
I do have a website. You can also find it at the Moorish, Moorish, American Institute.org.
AmericanInstitute.org. Thank you so much. We'll have more of Lonnie tomorrow, definitely. But this time, we're going to be enjoying your time here in Guadalajara Book Fair, checking out and speaking to a lot of friends and
Yes.
aspiring book buyers about your book. Thank you
Yes.
so much, Lonnie.
Thank you, James. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, more authors are coming here at the Reader's Magnet booth, and we'll have, I believe we have 4 more for the rest of the afternoon, and pretty much there's going to be more. I'll keep adjusting my phone because Lon is quite a tall guy. This time we're going to have our next author who's going to be speaking about. She's going to be speaking about her story. Yeah, she's here. She's right here. She's Pastor Betsy Cordoba. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Perfect.
Too excited to be here, sharing a little bit about the
Yeah, we can have Caitlin just pin so that you don't have to keep holding it. Just clear. There you go.
Perfect.
It's a noise canceling microphone so everybody would have a chance to hear you.
Closer?
Yes, you can
Okay.
move closer
Perfect.
too.
I'm shorter.
Okay, just a few inches lower than
Yeah.
Lonnie. Okay, I believe everything is good. So we'll have questions. My name is James, and we have Caitlin here. We're from Readers Magnet. We're going to be asking more questions.
Sure.
Again, we are live in our channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. I believe Pastor Betsy has already informed her families and fans
Share it a little bit. Yeah. Yes.
to have this link shared to all their social media accounts.
Yes, yes.
Again, if you have questions for Pastor Betsy, I'd be happy to ask them live
And then
here at the Guadalajara.
we'll
Book fair.
reshare because everybody's already tuned into the authors interviewing for me, so we'll let them know that we're live. That we're sharing this. So yeah, we're happy to be here, excited to be here with all of you.
Kate, what do you have? What do you have here?
All right, Betsy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, my name is Betsy Cordova. I live in San Francisco, California. I've been living there for a little bit over 30 years. But I'm originally from Guatemala. I came to the U.S. when I was 16, and I've been pastoring a missionary side of ministry for the last 13 years, and I've been writing for the past 7 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So what was the inspiration behind your book, The Awakening of the Brave?
Well, inspiration is the men and women who are at ministry who struggle day to day with being themselves, with being human. When I speak to pastors in different countries, when I share with them in the missionary field, I encounter many of them being successful at ministry, but having struggles in their lives. And the shame that comes with it when you are in a leadership position, you're not always open to sharing your humanity. But the Bible is filled with examples. Everybody in the Bible, except for Jesus, had a human struggle. Very, something that we can share, something that we can relate to. And the book, The Awakening of the Brave, is basically awakening to who we are in reality. The true person that we are, accepting that we are vulnerable, that we are weak, that there are things that we need to fix. But that doesn't disqualify us from the work that God called us to do. And the moment that we awake to who we are and we accept who we are, then strength comes within. And then the reality of who God called us to be can really shine through. And that's basically the inspiration. Having seen what God has done in my life all these years and not expecting it, not having a background that tells you this is who you're going to be. And seeing God brings you to nations, to even to the headquarters of the United Nations, sitting down, working on improving people's lives, and then really not expecting it, but allowing God to work and deal with my own weaknesses. That's basically the inspiration of the book.
I think that's so amazing, Betsy, and so brave of you as well. Because you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't want to show that they're struggling.
Yes.
And so I think you yourself just showing people that it's okay to struggle is so important.
Yes, it is.
Is there someone in your life that you've seen struggle where you think that they can actually benefit from your book?
From the book. Well, yes. You know, mothers, fathers, pastors, people in leadership positions, every Christian in reality can benefit from this book. Anybody who's human, because all of us have struggles. I was 9 years ago, what I would call at the top of where I could be in my spiritual life, as a minister, working within a ministry. And then my family went through a fall down. My daughter experienced a real life experience. She's now married, she has 2 children. But in the religious world, wow, you know, the daughter of went through this. This happened too. How can that be? You know, is their house in order? All of that could mean destruction. It could be shame. It could mean the end of a ministry if you go into hiding. If you allow the voices of people to tell you what you're going to be doing and what you should be doing. But when you allow yourself to go within and really find what is it that you're going to do from what happened, then you find a voice to those people who are struggling, to the people that God really called you, the broken, the one that need healing, the one that needs you to go out there and do something about their lives. Seeing my daughter succeed, seeing my marriage stay strong within this problem. So anybody who has a life, who's breathing, we could be at the top of our game one day, and the next day we could be broken in bankruptcy. So knowing that from there, God will always have another road. I speak in the book about a map that is ripped into pieces. We could have a map of our lives and then have it all figured out and know what we're going to do 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now. And then all of a sudden, one event can rip that map apart and you find yourself saying, what am I going to do that? How do I reinvent myself? And just knowing that there is a tomorrow. And that you are able to just start anew and find a new voice, a new stage to present life for other people to live by. It's amazing. It's just really encouraging. And well, I encourage you to read it. I have it in Spanish. I have it also in English. And it's very biblical. You're going to have a lot of Bible verses and stories, but it's also very human. The Bible is filled with stories about human people, broken and with failure. So it's not necessarily a religious book. It's a self-improvement book.
Betsy, what would you say is your favorite Bible verse that's in your book?
You really got me. That there is so many. There are so many books, but so many Bible verses that I could quote from the book. Maybe I would say the verse where God tells Gideon, go with that strength of yours. Am I not sending you? Gideon discusses with God about how can he go to do what he's calling him to do when he's the weakest of the weak and the smallest, the youngest of his family and of his clan. And then what God requires from him is to go with the strength that he has. And that's all it takes. Whatever you have at hand, God is going to work with that to multiply it and to do something. It just takes a spark of energy for you to get up and start doing something, start moving, for things to begin to happen. So but that would be it. From my weakest point to my strongest point. Yeah.
I think I can really feel that you've lived through the hardship with that in mind.
Yeah.
I think I can see it in your face and your mannerism that you've been through a lot.
Yes.
And I think that experience really translates to your book.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It is knowing, and you're completely right. We've been from my early childhood. We were, poverty. I would say even calamity. And this is why I tell you, nobody who met me when I was a child would say she's gonna go here or do this or do that. And so living through it, being a living testament of what God can do through you and what you can do with yourself, because it takes faith and it takes hope. Faith is believing that something will happen, that God will do something, and hope is knowing by experience what happened and putting that into action, seeing that something will come about. So, yep.
Pastor, I believe you are of Spanish origins. I believe it would be also interesting to our Spanish fans to have it spoken and have them inspired in their language.
Claro que sí, pues un poquito de lo que hemos resumido con las preguntas que nos hacían acá. ¿Cuál fue la inspiración del libro? Bueno, básicamente ser un ser humano y encontrar liderazgo, pastores, líderes religiosos, líderes de comunidad y de grupos que están en la cúspide de su carrera, fama, ser conocidos y esperarse que sean perfectos, pero en la realidad te encuentras que cuando llegas a tu casa no hay perfección y empiezas a sentir que hay un doblez o hipocresía, pero te encuentras luego en la Biblia que la mayoría, si no todas las personas, todos los personajes que Dios usa para hacernos como un ejemplo de vida, tienen defectos, excepto Jesucristo. Todos ellos tenían un reto, un problema humano que desafiar, algo que los ponía en vergüenza o en tristeza o en pobreza. Y el encontrarnos, despertar a quienes somos en realidad nosotros, darnos cuenta de qué es lo que está pasando, en realidad con nosotros nos despierta la valentía, que Dios nos levanta de la debilidad más grande hacia la fortaleza más grande, porque Él dice que en nuestra debilidad su fortaleza se perfecciona. Entonces el libro The Awakening of the Brave también está en español. Estamos acá promoviendo la copia en inglés y vamos a estar por los próximos días en esta feria. Estamos en el área internacional, GG38. It is the international section of the International Book Fair in Guadalajara. It's section GG38. Acá estamos compartiendo con ustedes junto con otros autores y esperamos poder verlos, pero esperamos poder compartir experiencia de vida, testimonios y por qué creemos que el despertar de nosotros es importante. I believe that awakening who we are, it's so important so that we can leave a mark in the world. Everybody and any one of us who is alive today has something to do. We just didn't happen to be here on earth for nothing. We have to transcend. Who we are has to transcend. So that's an invitation. The book is done. That's the message that I'll be bringing for you.
We have a question from Miss Kathy Barnes. She's really intrigued by the cover of your book.
Okay, yes.
Speak a little bit about the cover and how you've designed it.
Well, it is. It's really a story behind it, a testimony. George Marroquin is the person who designed the cover for me, and I share a lot with him. Basically, the Bible speaks about not letting a root of bitterness grow inside of you, or else you will contaminate many. When we allow bitterness for the things that happen to us in our lives, those roots will manifest eventually in our lives in the way that we speak, that we direct ourselves to other people. And many of us are walking around with these big roots that have invaded us. And this is the reflection of that. Josh was telling me, and he overcame addiction. And he told me the brave warrior that is behind it is fighting and is about to decapitate the old man, the man that is filled with the root of bitterness inside of him, that has become, overwhelmed and overshadowed by this identity that is not himself. So the brave has awoken, and the brave is about to get rid of the old person, the old me, the one that is not able to see life with joy, life as God intended us to perceive and live life. Yeah, that's what the cover tells us. And yes, it is impressive, it is intriguing, and it really hit me as to the meaning of the book in itself. This is my own life, this is how I was living, and this is who I'm meant to be, the warrior, the brave person that God intended me to be.
That's amazing. When I first saw the cover of your book, I was pulled in and I was very intrigued because it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So, let's see, I've got one last question for you. What do you think is the number one message you want everyone who reads your book to get from your book?
You are a better version of yourself. Who you are right now, even if it's amazing, there is something greater and there is something bigger and greater that you have to do for yourself and for humanity. Yes.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much,
Thank you.
Betsy.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a todos y gracias por estar acá y gracias a todos los que están aquí. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So again, we are still live here. We just had an interview with one of our amazing featured authors here at the Guadalajara Book Fair in the person of Pastor Betsy Cordoba. Now this time, what you can see right now is one of our book signing authors, Ms. Carmen Davenport, giving away copies of her books here at the Guadalajara International Book Fair. Again, Readers Magnet is live here at Guadalajara Expo for the opening day of Guadalajara International Book Fair 2023. Now, the one author that we're going to be interviewing this time is the author of the book. It's Building Bridges Made in His Image. I believe there's something to do with what she believes in, and she's going to be talking about her book. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Yarini Beltran. How are you doing now?
How are you?
Okay, we'll have Yarini positioned really nicely so that you can be seen by our viewers right now who's watching us live in the Readers Magnet channel. My name is James, and here with me is Caitlin, and we're going to be asking you questions. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Doing great. Are you originally from Mexico?
I am originally from Mexico.
Awesome. So you definitely can speak in Spanish too.
Oh, yes.
Definitely, this is a perfect audience. I believe we have audience coming from Spanish-speaking countries, and of course American or English-speaking countries as well. So without further ado, I believe Caitlin will have you ask your first question.
All right, Yarini, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Yarini Beltran. I'm originally from Mexico. I grew up in Mexico up until the age of 7, and I moved to the U.S. Several years ago. And my book is about just my experience growing up and finding my identity in Christ. Okay? And that I'm made in His image.
Amazing. Where in the U.S. do you currently live?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yes.
Amazing. And how was it moving from Mexico to the U.S.? How was the experience?
I was excited because my dad, he worked in the U.S. and would not come home, but every few months. So coming to the U.S., I was excited because I was going to be together with my mother and father and family. Yeah.
That's really amazing. I imagine as a 7-year-old, you would have been so excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was excited, to go to school and to be with my, just see everything, all the new things that were going to be there.
And how did you first connect with God?
I always grew up in church, but I didn't have a relationship with Christ until the age of 20. Yeah.
And what was the trigger?
I started having a lot of questions as to why am I here? Who made me? If God is real, where is He? And He started to show me, that He is very real and He is very present and has been very present in my life since the beginning. And from that, there was a turning point at the age of 20 when I received Christ and started that very personal relationship with Him.
Yes, amazing. Let's talk about your book. What inspired you to write your book?
During COVID, I started to see a lot of, with the politics and all the things going on, not only in the U.S. but around the world. I would see that there's still a lot of racism and division and everything. And I just felt God leading me to write this book, and that He wants unity, and that He created all of us with special talents, with special gifts that are to be shared with one another.
What do you think is your special gift?
I'm a nurse, so one of my special gifts, I speak Spanish, so at the doctor where I work, I help a lot of patients get in health care
and connecting them. And I relate to the patients because a lot of them don't speak English. I didn't speak English when I came to the U.S., so I can relate to my patients, and I see myself in them.
Yeah. And I can feel it. You're a very empathetic person. I think you can really feel your patients, their hardship, and also how they're going through something, and someone who understands them would be such a big boon
Yes,
to them,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. How long did it take you to write your book?
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6
Yeah.
months. Wow.
Yeah. I work full time and I have children, so it was just a little bit at a time that I would be able to do it.
No, but I think that's still quite good. 3 to 6 months is really great.
Yeah.
Especially when you're working full time
Yes,
as well.
yes.
What do you think was the hardest challenge for you as you were writing your book?
The time, and then the time, and also like you start to have some kind of fear of like, oh, why why am I doing this, or is this right? But then after it was published, I was like, no, I think God put it in my heart to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. Who around you was your main support when you were writing your book?
There's a pastor that I connected from Africa that has been supporting me, and also I had a coach. Her name is D. Giles and Pastor Kevin Oluni. They have been, and I another ministry that's called Women of Worth.
So they were your main support while
Yes,
you were writing.
yes.
That's amazing.
We have a message here from France G from the Philippines. Imagine you've been watched right now on the other side of the world. Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. The Bible verse has also served as her anchor through bouts with insecurities and fear. So I believe that's just exactly what you said earlier about accepting yourself and that you are of the image of God.
Amen.
But earlier when I was listening to you, Yarina, I was really interested in what exactly was the story or the turning point at the age of 20 that made you see him.
Okay. So I got married in the church. I grew up Catholic, and but I still didn't have a relationship with Christ. I kept questioning. I tried to read the Bible, and I didn't understand anything that was saying. And God used somebody in my life, my mother-in-law. She was with us at that time, and somebody had invited her to a church, and she went to the church, and she invited me, and I was like, I want to go. I started being curious, and when I went to that church, they said something that I had never heard before, and they said, "Would you like to receive Christ as your Savior?" And I had never heard that before, and I was like, "Yes," and like, we're all sinners, and I was like, yes, I'm a sinner, and would you like to, and who would like to receive Christ as your Savior? And I remember that day I walked to the altar, and I recognized that I was a sinner, and that Christ died for me. I accepted it, and after that I just prayed, and I said, Jesus, I believe that you're real, and I believe that you died for me on the cross, and I prayed that, and after that day, everything changed in me. Like it's like a veil that was removed from my eyes, and I didn't feel comfortable doing even the music that I was listening to, or if I was the way I was dressing. God just started to work in my life radically. Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest change within you from that moment on? And I'm not just talking about the way you dress, the way like the music that you listen to, but in your life and your perspective, what was the number one big change?
the biggest change is that my eternity changed. That before, I believe, and I believe the Bible that it says that without Christ we are dead, our soul is dead, and that I have to receive in Christ. That one day when I die, I will be in the presence of God because I receive Christ.
I think that belief, that shift in belief is
Yes.
so important.
Yes.
And I think it really affects all aspects of your life.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. To me, it's like a seatbelt. You wear your seatbelt in case you have an accident, and that seatbelt helps you. And that seatbelt is Jesus. We never, all of us are going to die at some point. We're not going to be here on the earth. So I was like, I'd rather have that assurance of salvation. And
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about your book cover.
Okay.
How did you design it, and what is the message you wanted to portray?
Okay. So I just have that vision that there's many people. It's in Revelation that it also says that there will be many people of different nationalities and colors, and that will be in the presence of God, and we're not going to be divided by race or by color or by height or by anything. We're just going to be all together.
You said that you're from Mexico. I believe you have friends and relatives right now who's also watching. Maybe you can invite them to check out your book, what your book is about in Spanish language.
Okay. Hola, mi nombre es Yareni Beltrán. Soy originaria de Hidalgo, México. Mi historia se trata de cuando yo me moví a los Estados Unidos a la edad de 7 años. Mis retos que tuve al llegar a un nuevo país, cuando no sabía el idioma, y también se trata sobre encontrar mi identidad en Cristo, de que todos nosotros somos creación de Dios y somos hechos a su imagen. Yo tuve un encuentro personal con Cristo a la edad de 20 años. Yo siempre crecí en la iglesia, me gustaba cantar en la iglesia, estar en el coro, pero aunque yo crecí en la iglesia, no empecé a tener una verdadera relación con Cristo hasta la edad de 20 años. Y los invito a todos, ¿verdad? Que si no tienen una relación con Cristo, me pueden preguntar a mí cómo iniciar ese primer paso. Y pronto estaré traduciendo el libro en español para que también lo puedan leer. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. Maybe you can invite our friends and whoever is watching right now, where we can check out the book besides Amazon. Do you have a website? How can we contact you?
Right now, the book is only at Amazon, but you can get in touch with me through Facebook or through Instagram or my email. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're
Again,
welcome.
Yareni Beltran, the author of the book, Building Bridges.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
How did that go? Yeah.
Y como dijo Vargas, no te rajes, Jalisco.
Guadalajara, Guadalajara. Guadalajara, Guadalajara. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay.
pero di mo na actually dito siya need